Lyra had never seen a warship before that day. She was young, even by Valoran standards. Her skin glowed with a soft blue light, the way all her people did when they were calm. She worked in the orbital station called Sanctuary, a place that floated high above her beautiful world. Her job was simple. She listened to signals from space. She talked to trade ships. She helped visitors find their way. Valora Prime was a peaceful world. The cities floated on clouds of crystal. The forests sang with gentle winds. Her people had never built a weapon. They had never needed one. For 10,000 years, they had lived in harmony with each other and with the universe. That peace ended in a single morning. Lyra was drinking her morning tea when the first alarm sounded. She looked at her screen and saw something she did not understand. There were ships coming. Many ships. They were big and dark and covered with sharp edges. They did not match any design in her database. She tried to contact them. She sent greetings in 100 languages. She asked them their purpose. She offered them help. They did not answer. Instead, they opened fire. The first shot hit a civilian transport. Lyra watched on her screen as 300 people died in a flash of light. She dropped her tea. The cup shattered on the floor, but she did not notice. Her skin flickered from blue to white, the color of terror. More shots came. More ships died. The invaders moved toward the planet with cold purpose. Lyra ran to find her supervisor. His name was Old Miro, a gentle elder with silver light in his skin. She found him standing at a window, watching the destruction. "What do we do?" Lyra asked. Her voice was shaking. Miro did not look at her. His eyes were fixed on the ships below. "I do not know," he said. "We have no weapons. We have no soldiers. We have nothing." "There must be something," Lyra said. Miro was quiet for a long moment. Then he turned to her. His face was sad but calm. "There's the beacon," he said. Lyra knew about the beacon. Every Valoran did. It was a relic from the Galactic Union, given to them centuries ago. It was meant only for the worst emergencies. If a species faced extinction, they could activate the beacon. It would send a signal across 1,000 light years, calling for help from any who would answer. "Will anyone come?" Lyra asked. "I do not know," Miro said. "But we have no other choice." They went to the deepest part of the station. The beacon was old and dusty. No one had touched it in generations. Lyra cleaned the controls with shaking hands. Miro showed her how to activate it. "Press this button," he said, "and pray." Lyra pressed it. The beacon hummed to life. A pulse of energy shot out from the station, spreading in all directions like ripples in water. It carried a simple message: "We are dying. Please help us." Then they waited. On the planet below, the killing had begun. The invaders were called the Kreth. They were tall creatures with gray skin and 4 arms. They had conquered 40 worlds. They took what they wanted and killed anyone who resisted. The Valorans did not resist. They could not. But the Kreth killed them anyway. Lyra watched from orbit. She saw cities burn. She saw her people run through streets of crystal, chased by monsters with plasma rifles. She saw children crying for parents who would never come. Her skin had turned completely white. She could not look away. Why? She whispered, "Why are they doing this?" No one answered her. Hours passed. The beacon signal spread across space, touching 100 star systems. Most species received it and did nothing. The Kreth were too powerful. The Valorans were too far away. It was not their problem. On a space station near the core worlds, a fat merchant read the signal and laughed. "Stupid Valorans," he said. "Should have built some ships." On a military base in the Outer Rim, a general read the signal and shook his head. "We cannot help," he said. "The Kreth would destroy us too." On a peaceful farming world, A mother read the signal and held her children close. "I hope someone helps them," she said. But she knew no one would. The signal kept spreading. It reached the edge of the galaxy, where few ships traveled and fewer species lived. It reached a small yellow star with 8 planets. The third planet was blue and green, covered in water and clouds. This planet had a warning in every galactic database. Class 12 Death World. Extreme gravity. Toxic atmosphere. Dangerous wildlife. Unstable weather. The warning was clear. Do not approach. But something lived on this death world. Something that had not only survived, but thrived. Something that had crawled out of the mud, looked at a universe full of dangers, and refused to die. The signal reached Earth. In a military base deep underground. A computer received the message. It processed the data. It recognized the emergency code. It sent an alert to every command center on the planet. Within minutes, Admiral Taiwan was reading the message. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had seen many battles. He had lost many friends. He had hoped to never fight again. But as he read about the Valorans, about the children dying and the cities burning, something old woke up inside him. Something that his species had carried since they were living in caves and fighting wolves with sticks. He picked up his communicator. "This is Admiral Taiwan," he said. "I am calling a full fleet mobilization. We have civilians dying. We have innocents being slaughtered. And we are going to do something about it." Across the planet, soldiers began to move. The humans had heard the call, and they were coming. Admiral Taiwan had not slept in 30 hours. He stood in the command center of Earth's largest orbital station, watching screens filled with data. Ships were moving. Soldiers were loading. The entire planet was waking up for war. His assistant, a young officer named Desu, brought him coffee. Taiwan took it without looking away from the screens. "Sir, we have 47 warships ready," Desu said. 12 carriers. 800 fighter craft. 200,000 personnel. "Not enough," Taiwan said. "It is everything we have, sir." Taiwan finally looked at him. "Then it will have to do." Across the fleet, crews prepared for a journey unlike any they had made before. They were going to save strangers. They did not know what the Valorans looked like. They did not know anything about their culture or their history. They only knew that innocent people were dying. For humans, that was enough. On the destroyer Iron Will, Captain Hana walked through her ship. She was a small woman with short black hair and eyes that never seemed to blink. Her crew called her the Ghost because she moved so quietly. She had fought in 3 wars on Earth before joining the Space Navy. She knew how to kill. More importantly, she knew when killing was necessary. She stopped at the weapons bay. Her chief gunner, a big man named Kanho, was checking the railguns. These were the most powerful weapons humans had ever built. They fired metal slugs at 3% the speed of light. Nothing in the known galaxy could survive a direct hit. "Are we ready?" Hannah asked. Kanho smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Ready to make them regret everything," he said. In the carrier ship Morning Star, Commander Wu Jin was addressing his Marines. There were 2,000 of them standing in perfect rows. They wore heavy armor painted black. Their faces were calm. Their eyes were not. Wu Jin was a large man with a scar running down his left cheek. He had earned that scar fighting in the deserts of Earth, where the temperature could kill a man in hours. He had survived. He always survived. "Listen up," he said. His voice was deep and carried across the hangar. "We are going to a planet called Valora Prime. There are aliens there called Kreth. They are killing civilians, women, children, old people, anyone they can find." He paused. The Marines were silent. "Our job is simple," Wu Jin continued. "We stop them. We protect the innocent. And we show the galaxy what happens when you mess with people who cannot fight back. A young Marine in the front row raised her hand. Her name was Yuna. She was small and thin, with kind eyes. She did not look like a soldier, but she was one of the best medics in the entire fleet. "Sir, do we know anything about Valoran biology?" she asked. "I need to know how to treat them if they are wounded." Wu Jin nodded. "Good question. We have some data from the Galactic Union database. Their blood is different from ours. Their bones are fragile. They cannot handle our medicines. You will need to be careful." Yuna nodded. She had already started memorizing the files. She would not let anyone die if she could help it. The fleet launched 6 hours after the decision was made. 47 warships rose from orbit. They formed a pattern that looked like an arrow pointing at the stars. The carriers stayed in the center, protected by destroyers and cruisers. Fighter craft flew alongside like metal birds. Admiral Tae-1 watched from the command ship, a massive vessel called the Hammer of Terra. It was the biggest ship humans had ever built. It carried enough firepower to destroy a moon. "Set course for Valora Prime," he ordered. "Maximum speed." The ships activated their jump drives. Space bent around them. Stars stretched into lines of light. Then they were gone, racing across the galaxy, faster than light itself. On Earth, people watched the fleet disappear. Some were proud. Some were scared. Some wondered if they would ever see those ships again. In a small apartment in Seoul, an old woman lit a candle. Her grandson was on one of those ships. She prayed for his safe return. In a military academy, young cadets watched the launch on screens. They wished they were old enough to go. They wanted to be heroes too. In the Galactic Union headquarters, far from Earth, officials were confused. They had detected the human fleet. They could not understand what was happening. "Why are they mobilizing?" one official asked. "The Valoran signal was not meant for them." "They are humans," another official said. "Who knows why they do anything? Should we stop them?" There was a long silence. The officials looked at each other. "No," the senior official finally said. "Let them go. The Kreth are not our allies. And the humans..." He paused. "The humans are not our enemies. Yet." The fleet traveled for 2 days. Inside the ships, soldiers prepared. They checked their weapons. They studied maps of Valora Prime. They wrote letters to families they might never see again. Captain Hannah spent her time on the bridge, staring at the stars. She thought about the Valorans. She had seen pictures of them. They were beautiful, glowing creatures with soft eyes and gentle faces. They looked like angels. The Kreth were killing angels. Hannah's hands tightened into fists. Commander Wu Jin trained with his Marines. They practiced fighting in low gravity. They practiced fighting in the dark. They practiced until their bodies screamed for rest. And then they practiced more. Lieutenant Yuna organized her medical supplies. She had enough equipment to save 1,000 lives. She hoped it would be enough. Admiral Tae-1 barely slept. He was planning the battle in his mind. The Kreth had powerful ships. The Kreth had more soldiers. But the Kreth had never fought humans before. They did not know what was coming. On the final night before arrival, Tae-1 made a speech to the entire fleet. His voice was broadcast to every ship. "Tomorrow we fight," he said. "We fight for people we have never met. We fight for a world we have never seen. Some of you may wonder why. Why should we risk our lives for strangers?" He paused. "Because that is who we are. Humans have always protected the weak. We have always stood against tyrants. We are not perfect. We have made mistakes. But when innocent people cry for help, we answer. That is the one thing we have always done right." He took a deep breath. "Tomorrow, We show the galaxy what humanity stands for. Make me proud. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace above Valora Prime. The Kreth fleet was waiting, and the real battle was about to begin. Lyra had stopped hoping 3 days ago. She sat in the dark corner of the orbital station, watching the screens with empty eyes. The Kreth had taken control of everything. Her world was burning. Her people were dying. The beacon had sent its signal, but no one had come. No one ever came. Old Miro sat beside her. He had not spoken in hours. His skin had lost its glow. He looked like a ghost. Maybe we should surrender, Lyra whispered. Maybe they will stop killing if we surrender. They will not stop, Miro said. His voice was tired. The Kreth do not take prisoners. They only take plants. Lyra closed her eyes. She thought about her mother, who lived in one of the floating cities. She had tried to contact her for 3 days. There was no answer. She knew what that meant, but she could not accept it. Then the alarm started screaming. Lyra jumped to her feet. New signals were appearing on the screens. Many signals. Coming from hyperspace? More Kreth? She asked. Miro looked at the data. His eyes went wide. No, he said. These are not Kreth signatures. These are... He stopped. He could not believe what he was seeing. These are unknown. The sky above Velora Prime tore open like a wound. Ships came through. Ship after ship after ship. They were ugly things, all sharp angles and heavy armor. They had no grace, no beauty. They looked like weapons given form. The Kreth commander, a massive creature named Grath, watched from his flagship. He had conquered 40 worlds. He had never lost a battle. He had never seen anything like this. What are those? He demanded. His sensor officer was shaking. Unknown design, Commander. We have no records of this species in our database. How many ships? 47 capital ships. 12 carriers. Approximately 800 smaller craft. Grath felt something he had not felt in many years. Fear. He pushed it down. Open communications, he ordered. Find out who dares to challenge the Kreth Dominion. A human face appeared on his screen. It was Admiral Taiwan. He looked calm, almost bored. This is Admiral Taiwan of the United Earth Defense Fleet, he said. You have attacked a civilian population. You have killed innocent people. You have exactly one chance to withdraw your forces and leave this system. Grath stared at the screen. Then he laughed. It was a deep, ugly sound. You threaten me? The Kreth Dominion has conquered half the galaxy. We have crushed empires. We have destroyed species. And you, from some unknown world, dare to give us orders? Taiwan did not smile. I am not giving you orders. I am giving you a chance. Take it or do not. I do not care either way. Grath ended the communication. He turned to his officers. These primitives think they can scare us with words. Show them the power of the Kreth. All ships, open fire. The Kreth fleet moved forward. 200 warships, bristling with weapons. They were confident. They were proud. They had never lost. They were about to learn why humans were called Deathworlders. Admiral Taiwan watched the Kreth approach. He checked his tactical display. He calculated distances and angles. Then he gave a simple order. Captain Hannah, you may fire when ready. On the iron will, Hannah smiled. It was a cold smile. A dangerous smile. Tang Ho, she said. Target the lead cruiser. Railgun 1. Fire. The railgun fired. There was no explosion, no flash of light. Just a metal slug moving at 9,000 kilometers per second. It crossed the distance between the fleets in less than a heartbeat. It hit the Kreth cruiser directly in the center. The cruiser did not explode. It simply came apart. The slug punched through the front, passed through the entire ship, and exited from the back. The ship broke into 3 pieces and began to drift. 4,000 Kreth died in that single shot. For a moment, no one moved. The Kreth could not believe what they had just seen. Their ships were supposed to be indestructible. Their armor was supposed to be the strongest in the galaxy. Then Admiral Taewon gave another order. All ships, fire at will. The human fleet opened up. Railguns fired in sequence. Missiles launched in waves. Energy weapons blazed across the void. The space between the fleets became a storm of death. Kreth ships exploded, one after another. Their shields meant nothing against weapons designed on a world where everything was trying to kill you. Their armor meant nothing against slugs moving faster than any Kreth had ever imagined. Grath watched his fleet die. His hands were shaking. "Return fire!" he screamed. "Return fire!" The Kreth tried. They fired everything they had. Plasma bolts and energy beams and missiles of their own. Some hit the human ships. The human ships did not die. They had been built by a species that lived on a world of earthquakes and volcanoes. They had been designed to survive the worst nature could offer. Kreth weapons hurt them, damaged them, but did not destroy them, and the humans kept firing. Captain Hannah maneuvered the Iron Will through the chaos. Her ship was hit 7 times. Fires broke out on 3 decks. 12 of her crew died. She did not stop. She could not stop. "Target that battleship," she ordered. Full volley. The Iron Will fired everything at once. The Kreth battleship tried to turn away. It was too slow. The shots hit its engines, its weapons, its bridge. The battleship became a fireball. Commander Wu Jin watched from the carrier Morning Star. His Marines were ready, waiting in their dropships. But there was nothing for them to do yet. The Navy was handling the space battle. "Come on," he muttered. "Finish them so we can get to the ground." In her medical bay, Lieutenant Yuna prepared for casualties. She could hear the battle through the walls. She could feel the ship shake with every hit. She was scared, but she was also ready. The battle lasted 47 minutes. When it was over, the Kreth fleet was destroyed. Not defeated, destroyed. 183 ships turned into debris. Thousands of Kreth floating dead in space. The human fleet had lost 4 ships. 4 ships against 183. Grath's flagship was crippled. He sat in his command chair, surrounded by fire and death. He could not understand what had happened. He had done everything right. He had followed every tactic that had won him 40 worlds. A human face appeared on his screen. It was Taewon again. "You should have listened," Taewon said. "Now your fleet is gone. Your soldiers are dying. And we are coming for your forces on the planet." Grath found his voice. "What are you?" he asked. "What species creates weapons like that? What world produces warriors like you?" Taewon's eyes were cold. "We are humans," he said. "We come from Earth, and you made a very big mistake when you started killing innocents in our galaxy." The communication ended. On the orbital station, Lyra was crying. But they were not tears of sadness anymore. They were tears of disbelief. Tears of hope. Someone had come. Someone had answered. And the Kreth were going to pay for everything they had done. The space battle was over, but the war was not. 50,000 Kreth soldiers were still on Pelora Prime. They had spread across the planet like a disease. They held the cities. They controlled the roads. They had thousands of Valoran prisoners waiting to be sold as slaves. Admiral Taewon looked at the planet from his command ship. It was a beautiful world. Blue oceans, green forests, cities that sparkled like jewels. And somewhere down there, innocent people were suffering. "Commander Wu Jin," he said into his communicator, "you have permission to land." Free those people." On the Morning Star, Wu Jin grinned. He had been waiting for this moment. "Marines!" he shouted. "Mount up. We are going hunting." 2,000 soldiers ran to their dropships. These were small, fast craft designed to survive atmospheric entry. They were armored like tanks and armed like destroyers. Each one carried 50 Marines ready to fight. The dropships launched. They fell toward Valora Prime like metal rain. The Kreth on the ground saw them coming. They set up anti-air weapons. They fired missiles and plasma bolts at the falling ships. The dropships did not slow down. Their armor absorbed the hits. Their pilots were trained to fly through fire. They had practiced this 1,000 times on Earth, where the weather was just as dangerous as any enemy weapon. The first dropship hit the ground near the largest Valoran city. The doors opened before the engines stopped. Marines poured out, weapons ready. Wu Jin was first out of his ship. He saw Kreth soldiers running toward him. They were big, with 4 arms and gray skin. They carried plasma rifles that could melt through steel. Wu Jin did not hesitate. He raised his weapon and fired. The Kreth soldier's head disappeared. Then he was moving, running toward the enemy, shooting as he went. His Marines followed. The Kreth had never fought humans before. They did not know what they were facing. They expected the same soft, weak species they had conquered before. Species that broke easily. Species that surrendered quickly. Humans did not break. A group of Kreth tried to hold a street. There were 30 of them, behind barriers, with heavy weapons. They thought they were safe. Wu Jin sent 10 Marines around the side. 5 more climbed to the rooftops. The rest advanced from the front, drawing fire. The Kreth focused on the frontal assault. They did not see the Marines above them. They did not see the Marines behind them. The attack came from 3 directions at once. It was over in 40 seconds. 30 Kreth dead. No human casualties. Wu Jin did not celebrate. He kept moving. There were more enemies ahead. In another part of the city, Lieutenant Yuna was setting up a medical station. She had found a building that was still standing. It had been a school before the invasion. Now it would be a hospital. Valoran survivors came to her. They were hurt and scared. Their beautiful glowing skin was dim with pain. Many of them had never seen violence before the Kreth came. They did not understand why anyone would want to hurt them. Yuna treated them gently. She had studied their biology during the journey. She knew their blood was different from human blood. She knew their bones were fragile. She had to be careful. A young Valoran child was brought to her. The child had been shot in the arm. She was crying, her light flickering with fear. Yuna knelt beside her. "It is okay," she said softly. "I am going to help you. You are safe now." The child looked at her with large, wet eyes. "Are you an angel?" she asked. Yuna smiled. "No, I am just a human. But I promise I will take care of you." She worked for hours. Wound after wound. Patient after patient. Her hands became steady through practice. She saved 47 lives that day. Back in the streets, the battle continued. The Kreth were fighting hard. They knew they were losing, but they refused to surrender. Their commander had ordered them to hold the planet at all costs, but the humans were relentless. Captain Hana had brought the Iron Will into low orbit. She was providing fire support, using her ship's sensors to find enemy positions and her weapons to destroy them. "Target that building," she ordered. Her voice was calm. Kreth command post. One shot. The railgun fired. A building on the surface exploded. 50 Kreth officers died in an instant. Wu Jin was fighting in a plaza when he saw it happen. He nodded in appreciation. Then he went back to killing. A Kreth soldier surprised him from behind. It grabbed him with 2 arms and tried to crush his armor. Wu Jin felt his ribs creak, but he did not panic. He had trained for this. He dropped his rifle, pulled out his combat knife, and stabbed the Kreth in the throat. It let go. He stabbed it again, and again, until it stopped moving. He picked up his rifle and kept fighting. His Marines were doing the same everywhere. They fought in streets and buildings. They fought in parks and tunnels. They fought without stopping, without resting, without giving up. One Marine, a young man named Du Yun, found himself alone against 5 Kreth. His rifle was empty. His squad was too far away to help. He charged them with his knife. The Kreth were shocked. No species they had conquered had ever done something so insane. They hesitated for just a moment. That moment was enough. Du Yun killed 2 before they could react. The other 3 tried to retreat. He killed them too. When his squad found him, he was standing over 5 dead bodies, breathing hard, covered in alien blood. "Are you okay?" his sergeant asked. Du Yun nodded. "Just getting started," he said. As night fell on Valora Prime, the tide of battle became clear. The Kreth were losing. Badly. They had started with 50,000 soldiers. By midnight, they had less than 10,000. The humans had lost fewer than 200. It was not a fair fight. The Kreth had expected prey. They had found predators. In the ruins of the largest city, Wujin received a message. A group of Kreth were holding a building filled with Valoran prisoners. They were threatening to kill everyone if the humans did not withdraw. Wujin did not answer the threat. He gathered his best soldiers. They moved through the darkness like shadows. They entered the building from 6 different points at the same time. The Kreth guards died before they knew they were under attack. The prisoners were freed without a single casualty. One of the prisoners was an old Valoran woman. She looked at Wujin with wonder. "You saved us," she said. "You came from so far away." "Why?" Wujin looked at her. His face was hard, but his voice was gentle. "Because someone needed help," he said. "That is all the reason we need." By dawn, the battle was over. The Kreth forces on Valora Prime were destroyed. Those who survived were taken prisoner. They would face justice for what they had done. Lieutenant Yuna had worked through the entire night. She had saved 112 lives. Her hands were shaking from exhaustion, but her heart was full. Commander Wujin stood in the ruins of a city and watched the sun rise. His Marines were tired but proud. They had done something good. Something right. Far above, Admiral Taewon allowed himself a small smile. The people of Valora Prime were free, and the galaxy had learned an important lesson about humanity. 3 days had passed since the battle ended. Valora Prime was quiet now. The fires were out. The bodies were buried. The survivors were beginning to understand that they were safe, but the scars would last forever. Lyra walked through what was left of her city. The beautiful crystal towers were broken. The singing forests were silent. Her people, who had known nothing but peace for 10,000 years, had learned what war looked like. She stopped at a pile of rubble. Somewhere under there was her mother's home. She had searched for 2 days. She had not found a body. Part of her still hoped. A shadow fell over her. She looked up and saw a human soldier. He was big, with tired eyes and dirt on his armor. His name tag said Park. "Are you looking for someone?" he asked. His voice was gentle, strange coming from such a large man. "My mother," Lyra said. Her voice cracked. "She lived here." The soldier was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled out a small device. "What was her name?" "Sora. Her name was Sora." The soldier typed into his device. He waited. Lyra watched his face, looking for any sign of hope. His expression changed. He looked at her. "We found a Sora in the refugee camp on the north side of the city," he said. "She is injured but alive." Lyra could not speak. Her skin began to glow, brighter than it had in days. Blue and gold and white, all at once. "Thank you," she finally managed. "Thank you." The soldier nodded. "Go find her. We will finish cleaning up here." Lyra ran. She ran faster than she had ever run in her life. In the center of the ruined city, Admiral Tae-1 was meeting with the Valoran Council. There were only 7 of them left. The others had died in the invasion. They sat in the broken building, surrounded by rubble and dust. But they were alive. Their world was still here. The council leader was an ancient Valoran named Prim. His light was faint and flickered with age and grief. But his voice was strong. "Admiral," he said, "we do not know how to thank you. We had no hope. We had nothing. And you came from across the galaxy to save us." Tae-1 shook his head. "You do not need to thank us. We did what was right." "But why?" Prim asked. "We are strangers to you. We have nothing to offer. Our world is no great wealth, no powerful technology. Why did you risk your soldiers' lives for us?" Tae-1 was quiet for a long moment. He thought about how to explain something that he had always known, something that lived in the heart of every human. "On our world," he said finally, "we have a long and terrible history. We have fought each other for thousands of years. We have done horrible things. We have caused great suffering." The council listened. "But we also learned something important," Tae-1 continued. "We learned that evil wins when good people do nothing. We learned that the strong must protect the weak. We learned that helping others is not weakness. It is the greatest strength of all." He looked at the council with steady eyes. "Someone sent a call for help. We heard it. We answered. That is what humans do. That is who we are." Prim's light grew a little brighter. "Then humanity is a blessing to this galaxy," he said. "And we will never forget what you have done." Outside the building, Commander Wu Jin was saying goodbye to his Marines. Many of them were being sent home. Their mission was complete. Lieutenant Yuna stood nearby. She had dark circles under her eyes. She had barely slept in days. But she was smiling. "You did good work," Wu Jin told her. 112 lives saved. That is more than most soldiers can claim in a lifetime. "It was not enough," Yuna said quietly. "There were others I could not save." Wu Jin put a hand on her shoulder. "You saved everyone you could. That is all anyone can ask." He turned to address his Marines one last time. "You fought well," he said. "You protected innocent people. You showed the galaxy what Earth soldiers are made of. I am proud of every one of you." The Marines stood a little taller. "Now go home," Wu Jin continued. "See your families, rest, but remember this day. Remember what we did here, because the galaxy is watching now. And they know that when someone cries for help, humans answer." In orbit, Captain Ha was supervising repairs to the Iron Will. Her ship had taken heavy damage. 12 of her crew had died. She had written letters to their families, trying to find words that could express what they had sacrificed. Her gunner, Kang Ho, found her on the bridge. "Captain," he said, "we are receiving messages. Hundreds of them. From who?" "Everyone. Other species. Other worlds. They saw what happened here. They are." He paused, looking surprised. "They are thanking us." Hana looked at the messages on her screen. Species she had never heard of, worlds she had never seen. They were all saying the same thing. "Thank you for showing us that someone cares. Thank you for standing up to the KRETH. Thank you for being who you are." Hannah did not know what to say. She had just been doing her job. On Valora Prime, Lyra found her mother. Sora was in a medical tent, her arm wrapped in bandages, her light weak but steady. When she saw Lyra, she began to cry. "I thought you were dead," Sora whispered. "I thought they had taken you." Lyra held her mother carefully, mindful of her injuries. I am here, she said. We are both here. We survived. Because of them, Sora said. Because of the humans. Lyra nodded. She would never forget the day the sky opened and the Armada appeared. She would never forget the soldiers who fought and died for strangers. She would never forget the medic who treated her people with such gentle hands. She would tell this story to her children. And they would tell their children. For generations, the Valorans would. Remember. The humans came. The humans saved them. The humans asked for nothing in return. Word spread across the galaxy. The story of Valora Prime traveled from world to world, from species to species. The Kreth Dominion, once feared by everyone, began to crumble. Their conquered worlds rose up, inspired by the knowledge that someone out there would answer a cry for help. Within a year, the Dominion was gone. The Kreth homeworld was isolated, their fleets destroyed, their empire reduced to Ashdod and in every corner of the galaxy. A new truth took hold. Do not harm the innocent. The Deathworlders are watching. They come from a planet where everything is trying to kill them. They evolved fighting for survival every single day. They have weapons that can destroy stars and soldiers who never give up. They are terrifying in battle, but they are not conquerors. They are protectors, and they always answer the call. On Earth, the fleet returned to heroes' welcomes. Parades filled the streets. Families reunited. Soldiers were honored for their bravery. Admiral Taiwan retired quietly. He had done enough fighting for one lifetime. He spent his remaining years teaching at the military academy, training the next generation of protectors. Captain Hana continued to serve. She commanded the Iron Will for 20 more years, protecting shipping lanes and responding to distress calls. Commander Wujin started a training program for allied species. He taught other worlds how to defend themselves, so they would not need saving. Lieutenant Yuna became a doctor. She specialized in alien medicine, traveling the galaxy to help species in need. She saved thousands more lives. And far away on Valora Prime, in a rebuilt city of crystal and light, Lyra became a teacher. She taught her students about the universe, about the dangers that existed between the stars, about the cruelty that some species were capable of, but mostly she taught them about hope. There is good in the galaxy, she would say. There are those who will come when you call. There are those who will fight for strangers. There are those who believe that protecting the innocent is worth any sacrifice. She would point to the stars. They are called humans, she would say, and they are our friends. The children would look up at the sky with wonder, and somewhere out there, watching over a galaxy that had once ignored them, humanity stood ready to answer the next call, ready to protect the next innocent, ready to show the universe, once again, what Deathworlders could do. Not for glory, not for power, but because it was right, because they were human, and that was enough.